Greetings, gardeners. It's time for our September check-in. It is September 16th. It's a lovely fall day. You can hear the insects. I've had a couple of monarch butterflies flying around. Molly's in the garden. The farmers are all harvesting, so you might hear some background noises of some machinery, but let's check in and see what I've done. I've been busy this month, this past couple of weeks. Let's start in the front. I cleared an area in the front that was basically crabgrass and some weeds to put in what I think is a native hydrangea. I think this is Hydrangea arborescens, or the smooth hydrangea. Friend gave it to me, so based on the growth, I think that's what it is. And then I'm going to, when we get some rain forecasted, this area out here, I think I'm going to seed into the white clover. So I'll have an area I can mow right up to, and if I, clip off the clover, it won't matter. And that hydrangea hopefully will like this spot. Well, the goldenrod is in bloom. That's been happening. And I always thought I had Canadian goldenrod, but now I'm not sure. I may have mentioned this in August, but I watched a webinar that talked about some fall natives, and they talked about all the different species of goldenrod. And I might have some different species in here and not the Canadian. But anyway, the goldenrod is in bloom. The pokeweed berries are starting to ripen up. So pokeweed is a native plant. Don't you just love the red stem? The birds love the berries when they're ripe. So I usually have a lot of it poking up. And you can see this year, I really do. And I'm usually pulling a lot of the seedlings in the spring and even through the summer. So this is the very backyard. Very yellow right now with the goldenrod. I've also got some helianthus in the back there. But the butterflies love goldenrod. Goldenrod is one of those perennials that's native, that a lot of different insects use it. The goldfinches and some of the other birds will feed on the seeds during the winter. Bees love it. There's a honeybee over here. So I've got a lot of goldenrod that just appears. So let's get into the garden. I have actually added some plants that I found. And a bunch of things are blooming. So I added a few new mountain mints. This is hairy mountain mint. And over here is slender mountain mint. So what I'm hoping is that this whole area here will kind of fill in with the mints. Because I have some mint down here that's still in bloom. So the bees really love it. Oh, and my showy goldenrod has started to bloom. We've got a bumble in there. But this is showy goldenrod, so you can see it's different because it's got a plume of flowers. And I would say mine is about probably 3 feet tall. So this is one I did buy from a native plant company. So that's showy goldenrod. So that's in bloom. And I've done some work over in here. This was a lot of forsythia that never bloomed. It was an older variety that I inherited with the property. And it just is this, you can kind of see the canes of the ones that haven't gotten out yet. They just kind of get into everything. This whole area here was under forsythia shade. Nothing was growing there. So over Labor Day, I pruned them all back, the ones that were in this row here, and then dug them out. And then I have 4 spice bushes, not the calycanthus, I can't remember the name of it, scientific, but this one blooms early in the spring and it gets a yellow flower on it. And I think the spice swallowtail butterfly uses it for their caterpillars. So this is, I'm replacing the forsythia with some native shrubs. I had 4 that I had gotten in our soil and water spring sale. Our local soil and water sells plants for conservation purposes. And then I had some of the hardy azuratum, which wasn't doing well. Well, it was doing quite well in a spot, but it was in a very sunny spot, and it always kind of sulked a little bit when we went a couple weeks without rain. And it seems happier in part shade. So I decided to interplant it. You can't even see my little spice trees in here, shrubs. I decided to interplant it between my spice bushes. It spreads by rhizome, so it will eventually fill this area in, which is fine. And I think it'll be enough competition to keep the garlic mustard out. So I opted to mulch this to also help keep the garlic mustard under control while the hardy azuratum is getting established. And I also added some over here by the ostrich ferns. So next fall, or end of next summer, hopefully this will be a purple sea like that is over there. And taking the forsythia out really did change kind of the makeup. It was kind of a border between this native garden and the end of this other garden over here, which is a mix of native and non-native plants. I did add in a maidenhair fern, which is native. And I moved the cinnamon fern from where it was too sunny over here, and we've got some new growth. So I'm hoping the cinnamon fern will do better in more shade. I also uncovered some Christmas ferns that I had planted this spring. So I think I put in 10 or 12 of them. And the Christmas fern is nice just because the fronds stay green through the winter. And I see some garlic mustard I have to pull out. So this is a garlic mustard plant, which next spring will bloom. It's large enough, and that one will bloom. So I'm gonna have to get that one out. This is a native anemone that is hopefully going to spread. It'll be a nice ground cover. Got the asters over there that we just put in this year. So this was an aster I put in last year. This is smooth aster. And it started to bloom the past week or so. It'll look nice with the showy goldenrod. I'll give you another look. Nice purple. Smooth aster. Another little native fern. I think this one's called oak leaf or oak ruffle. I don't remember exactly, but it's not going to get very tall, and it's supposed to be more of a ground cover fern. And then where the cinnamon fern was, I ended up putting this rugosa rose in. This is not I know this variety isn't native to New York. It's actually a Swedish cultivar. But when it was in bloom, the bees did enjoy it. So I wanted something, well, I needed a place for the rose to go. So we're going to try it here. It was in a container most of the summer, so it got a little dry a couple of times. So it's got some leaf scorch, but I'm hoping it will settle in for the winter and come back nice next spring. This particular cultivar is supposed to bloom through quite a bit of the summer, and it does have fragrant roses on it. Let's see what else. Flat top aster is kind of waning now. Oh, here we have some starting to seed. And then the wing stem is in full bloom. Very pretty. I don't know, the swamp milkweed don't look good this year. Got some more wing stem back here. These are actually, I have to admit, I thought that's where my monkey plant was, but it's actually part of the wing stem. The monkey plant is down farther, and I don't even know if it made it. I don't really see it. All right, the trefoil has gone to seed. And these are actually a little sticky. They stick to you. The amaranth, which is not native, is going to seed. I've already taken one out. Now this is the one that I want to collect and try next year, because this was the one that had more variegation on it. All right, so these asters have not started to bloom yet. Oh, what else have we got? Liatris has gone to seed. Got another goldenrod. Oh, there's some garlic mustard I've got to get out. Phlox is still going. Hello, Molly. Oh, when I was weeding the front, I found this native, at least I think it's a native sedge. I didn't plant it, so I moved it so that it wasn't in the front. Something's going on with my Culver's root. I've watered them, but they look wilty, so I got to figure out what's going on with them. The two white ones, the purple one is fine, so I might have to dig down. Oh, so we'll just do a pan here. You can see a lot of goldenrod. Oh, I put also in an Amsonia hubreckii. So this is a native, and it will have blue star-shaped flowers early in the spring. And the foliage will turn a bright yellow for fall. So my narrow leaf ironweed is just, oh, we got one bloom for you today. Not quite as showy as some of the other ironweeds, but later in the season. So we're extending that flower season for our pollinators. And if I remember correctly, this is some kind of helianthus, which is going to also be late. This is pokeweed in flower. So if I get back in here, you can see I've got a lot of pokeweed. So this is an area that I think I would, well, for now we'll leave it pokeweed, but maybe next spring we'll figure out what to do with this area. I did take some trees down in here last year. They were leaning or mostly dead. And I want to get some of the grapevines under control so we can have some other trees and shrubs. Otherwise, they just engulf. There's actually a forsythia under this grape here. So fall's a good time to do some perennial planting. I actually like to have my plants in the ground by the middle of September, just to make sure they've got enough time to get their roots established before the cold weather comes. But probably until the end of September is good. Bulbs will be coming soon, so we'll be planting some Chemesia in here. And well, I guess we'll check in again in October see what's still going on. You can extend your gardening season with some of these fall bloomers. And like I said, if you're trying to encourage pollinators and other native insects and our monarch butterflies that are migrating right now, you really want to add in some fall bloomers. We got a little sweaty in here. All right, well, I'm probably going to turn the hose on because it's been dry and there's no rain in the forecast for the rest of the week. So Molly's going to have to move or she's going to get wet. All right, well, enjoy the rest of your day.